Hey, what's up, Haven Knights? We are fresh off the heels of the 8th annual Huntsville Comic and Pop Culture Expo. We had a blast at the expo. We had a really good time seeing everybody, getting out. A lot of great pickups, a lot of comics bought this week. It was just a really good weekend at the expo. We do have a guest on Shop Talk this week. We do have Miss Jo Duffy herself. Not sure exactly how much time we're going to have with Jo this week, so I decided to go ahead and film y'all another episode of the Pull List. So, I've got my store folio. We've got our camera. Let's see what's inside. So like usual, all comics are based off of what came out last week so we can avoid potential spoilers for anybody and hopefully get y'all hyped up to go pick up some of these issues that came out last week. So, right off the bat, we're just going to get right into it. I had a good week last week, as you can tell. So, we're going to go with The Last of the Barbarians, issue number 3 by Brian Hallerman. This was a really good issue. We find out more about the boy that they're trying to rescue. The vessel is what they keep referring to him as. He definitely has some power. There's definitely a lot more going on here than what you first anticipate with some of the characters. Still not quite sure who's good guys and who's bad guys other than Silva and Shadow, but we're going to find that out as we go. So far, very, very, very smartly written. I think it was a really good assessment when it was said that it was a cross between Conan and The Princess Bride. There's definitely some elements of both in there. A little bit of Dungeons and Dragons thrown in, but this has been a solid read so far. I'm really looking forward to seeing what's going on with the vessel, who Shadow has named Malcolm at this point, just because he kind of likes the name Malcolm. He's definitely a very powerful being. We'll find out more about him in the future, but that is Last of the Barbarians, issue number 3. It's only the 3rd issue, so you've still got time to pick it up. Next up, we have issue number 3 of 4, AWA Studios, Black Tape. We have been loving AWA and what all they've been putting out, and we have been loving Black Tape. Black Tape is got your classic late 70s, early 80s horror vibe going on. There's definitely the element of the old TV show Dark Shadows. 3 of 4. This one is just a great read. I mean, absolutely fantastic. It definitely sets the tone. Number 4 should be a full-on onslaught to your senses. There's still some questions that we need to be answered. Basically, it's really hard to explain, but in a nutshell, you have a rock god by the name of Jack. He is passed on, and his wife is left picking up the pieces. There is a secret recording that he did. The sleazy record producer and the other people are trying to get their hands on it because they want this last recording that is really not meant for anybody to hear, apparently. But they think it's going to make them millions, and there's definitely a lot going on because you do find out in this issue that a lot of the people that Jack surrounded himself with, they were part of some type of cult or coven. There was definitely a lot of rituals going on, things of that nature. This will kind of remind you a little bit of, say, when I say the 70s era horror movies, I mean, you kind of get some of the vibes like The Omen, The Exorcist, things like that. You definitely get a little bit of the way the coven or cult, I'm really not sure which they are, the way they're kind of brought into it and the way they're acting. I definitely get a little bit of vibes of, say, that coven that was in the Paranormal Activity movies. So yeah, if you're into horror and you're into heavy metal, Black Tape is a must read. Cannot get enough of what they're doing over there at AWA Studios. Next up on the list, we have Nightwing, issue 103. So in issue 103, Nightwing, Raven, Cyborg have basically gone to hell. They are going after the contract of the little girl, and they are going to see if they can save her soul. They are trying to protect her. She is, once again, obviously some type of vessel or something. That kind of seems to be a theme this week with some of the books that I've had. Another solid issue. I like what Tom Taylor is doing with Nightwing and how he's, for lack of a better word, reintroducing the Titans through this. We do have an upcoming Titans book with Tom Taylor writing it. I definitely signing up for that one. I think if you like Nightwing and you like Tom Taylor's writing style, sign up for it also. But this is another one of those books that the secondary story really and truly did not have to be a secondary story. The secondary story, Nightwing is basically showing Superboy how to be a detective. And they are working a case together, and it's been a really good story. It's been kind of a touching story in this issue, but it's not over with yet. Nightwing issue 103. This is part of the whole Dawn of DC. This is another solid read, another solid outing by Tom Taylor. Next up, we have another Tom Taylor book. We have DCeased, War of the Undead Gods, issue number 8. So anybody that's been reading hold that up a little bit better. For anybody that's been reading the DCeased storyline, then DCeased, War of the Undead Gods, these have been really good by Tom Taylor. Personally, my favorite issue was issue 6 of War of the Undead Gods. I thought it was beautifully written. This does bring us a final conclusion to this storyline. I don't think that there's any way that they could really continue it at this point, especially with the way that it ends. And it does prove that Damian Wayne rightfully, he takes his place as Batman. He's been Batman throughout the entire run since Bruce was killed way back in the beginning of the whole DCeased storyline. But he definitely proves in this issue that he is beyond a shadow of a doubt Batman. He is the man that can basically make the sacrifices and come up with the plans. This was beautifully written by Tom Taylor. This was a great issue. It's over with now, so you definitely can start picking up the trades soon, and I do highly recommend this if you want a Elseworlds type I'm calling it Elseworlds even though it doesn't fall under Elseworlds, but it's definitely along those lines. It's just its own standalone thing. But yeah, another great read. Next up, we have Dawn of DC, Superman, issue number 3. This right here pretty much concludes our Parasite storyline. The little story arc they had there. I thoroughly enjoyed these. It was nice being able to start a Superman title with a number 1 and kind of start fresh. And maybe it's just me. I could be wrong in the way I'm looking at it. For other DC fans out there, please leave a comment and let me know what you think. But to me, this is like reading the Superman the Animated Series. It's like reading that cartoon comic book form. I like what they've done with it. We do find out in this issue that Lex Luthor is definitely up to more than what he seems to be up to, but we're kind of expecting that because at the end of the day, it is Lex Luthor. I do like the way that Josh Williamson is writing Lois and Clark. They definitely have a Lois and Clark moment in the book, and I thought it's very well done. The art's been really good. I do look forward to see where this book goes in the future. Up next, we have, by surprise, by Mad Cave Studios, Hunt, Kill, Repeat, issue 2. In this issue, Artemis is healed. She is awake. She has got her new battle outfit, and she looks friggin' awesome. This issue right here is pretty much billed as Artemis versus Aphrodite, and the battle does not disappoint on any level whatsoever. We find out about the chronograph and not exactly, but we get an idea of what type of power that it holds and how it's going to help Artemis in her battle against the gods. It's really cool. I'm enjoying the way Mark London has written this book. Issue number 2 is we get a little bit of a setup on Artemis and Julian, how they met, how they fell in love. We're getting a little bit of that backstory. That is nice to get. But once we get that little bit of the backstory out of the way and Aphrodite is brought into it, it is non-stop from there on out. This is another solid outing by Mark London and Mad Cave Studios. Definitely love what they're doing with Hunt, Kill, Repeat. So, speaking of loving what they're doing, Gunslinger, issue number 19 by Todd McFarlane. Gunslinger, in my honest opinion, has been the most solid and the best title out of the Spawn universe so far. I loved what they've done with Javier. I love the writing and what all Todd has done with it. And for those of you who are not reading it, that little name right there, I hope I got it just right in the camera. That is Booth. That is the one, the only Brett Booth. And his art in this is absolutely beautiful, phenomenal, fantastic. Cannot get enough of Brett Booth. Brett Booth, if you ever see this, please bring back Backlash. In this particular issue, though, we do have Spawn and Gunslinger have kind of done a little shady thing off to the side that you do not see. It actually happened in the previous issue. There is a nice little twist in this one. I like the way that they set everything up, the way they fought the Angels, the outcome of it. And we definitely move forward into issue 20. Neither Spawn nor Gunslinger trust each other. They just don't like each other, and that's fine, because if they got along, it really and truly would not be the type of relationship that we would expect out of those two. But like I said, Gunslinger Spawn issue 19, I believe some of the trades are already out. Even if they're not, this is not that difficult to pick up. Go grab it and have some fun with it. I mean, it's a Spawn book. It's Gunslinger. It's action. Think Spawn with weapons. One thing that I did really enjoy about this is at the end of it, we'll kind of spare y'all some details as to why, but Gunslinger does change his mask some, and I like the new direction and the way his mask looks. It's really cool. He even changed his symbols on his shoulders just a little bit, so they will distinctly know that they are not dealing with Spawn, they are dealing with him. A really cool look for Gunslinger at the end of this issue. So, next up, we have 2 left. And you got to have the fun book. You got to have the nostalgia read, and this is just the perfect one. We have Darkwing Duck, issue number 4. Darkwing is back. Drake Mallard is done being retired. Bushroot's in town. He's tearing stuff up. Drake Mallard can't handle the situation, so who you going to call? DW. And that's exactly what he does. It's just fun. It's nostalgia. This is, once again, it's like you're reading the cartoon. I'm loving what they're doing with Darkwing Duck. I know Josh is enjoying what they're doing with Darkwing Duck. Anybody that's been picking this book up, I know that they've been enjoying it. If you just want a fun, lighthearted read, something that you just don't have to focus all your time on and energy on, definitely pick up the new Darkwing series. It'll take you back. I mean, you just can't go wrong with Darkwing. And for our final book of the evening, y'all should have known it was coming. We have No One, issue number 2 by Kyle Higgins. So, issue number 2, we get a lot more of the world building. We get a lot more of the story building. We do get a little bit of No One versus the police department. I like the way that it was done. I really do like the way that it was done. I wish that we got a little more No One instead of just the story. I wished we were finding out more about No One's story at this point. That's my own personal opinion. That's my own personal wish. But it's being done perfectly because we've got to know the reasons why. We've got to know the backstory. I don't want to spoil anything for anyone, but our character, Ben, the detective, the John Rowe murder's father, he is faced with a choice in this issue, and he makes his choice at the end of the issue. I agree with his choice. I think he did the right thing. The whole thing about it, though, is some people may not agree with it, but the choice that he made, I could be wrong. My personal opinions, either No One is about to get help in the form of Ben, or Ben could very possibly end up becoming his own vigilante in the end. Story is very intricate, very detailed. Kyle Higgins, he did not knock it out of the park with this one. He did not hit a home run. It was bases loaded, bottom of the ninth, and he put it in the parking lot out of the stadium. I mean, this book is phenomenal. Cannot get enough of No One. And the podcasts that go along with it, podcast does get referenced in this issue. You do not have to listen to the podcast to understand what's going on in the book, just like you do not have to read the book to understand what's going on in the podcast. It is nice having that companion piece. It's really cool seeing what Kyle Higgins has done on Twitter, what they've done with the websites and everything. No One is a completely and totally immersive experience. You can get it from all angles as far as the story to tell you one big, massive, complete story for only $3.99 a month. Everything else, the podcast, the websites, the Twitter feed, that's all free. I cannot recommend No One enough. Just a really great read. So that is our books for the week. Like I said, tomorrow night we do have Joe Duffy. I'm saying tomorrow night. I don't know exactly when you're seeing this, but we do have Joe Duffy on Shop Talk as of April 27th, 2023. Free Comic Book Day is coming up May 6th. Make sure you do come out. If you like the live streams, if you like the shorts, we do post shorts daily. If you like videos like this, please hit the like, subscribe, and hopefully we will see you for New Comic Book Day. When you do hit the like and subscribe, though, make sure you turn on all notifications because we do plan on going live for Free Comic Book Day, and we will see you soon.